Well, a lot of kids, they've been watching the news and things that have been happening over the past couple of weeks, and especially yesterday. It's hard to avoid with the verdicts and all the discussions, and when we have these instances involving police. So it's also hard on educators. And here's a teacher who we spoke with yesterday, just after the Chauvin verdict was being announced. Hear her response.
I am so happy. I'm a teacher, and it's so hard. I'm just so happy. My kids, they had questions all day today.
You can believe your eyes.
Yeah, so we wanted to answer her. So we have relationship therapist and author Dr. Argie Allen West and
Wilson.
Wilson. I can always say West. I'm so sorry, Argie. I've only known Argie 15, 20 years. And I screw that up every single time. Maybe it helped if they put it in the script. Anyway, and Philadelphia School Superintendent Dr. William Hite. Dr. Hite, good to see you. So let's try to answer this woman's question. What does she say to the students, and should it be brought up in a classroom, or even if it's a virtual classroom?
Yeah, so I'll begin, and good morning, Mike and Alex, and good to be with you this morning, Dr. Argie. And we've encouraged everyone to take the time they need to process this, and we know that there are going to be a mix of emotions, and everyone won't have all of the answers, but just actually having the time or creating the space and the place to have these conversations. And we want it to be done in a safe way. And it's okay if individuals don't have the answers, but we've also sent resources to everyone last night talking about the things that they could use to talk with their students about this.
And we know, of course, it doesn't just stop with the classroom, and especially if they're having these conversations at school, when they come home, Dr. Argie Allen Wilson, you know, they're going to have questions for their parents, and it's, you know, the television's on, this is what they're seeing.
Yeah, Alex and Mike, and thank you for having me, of course, and good to see you, Dr. Hite. You know, the problem here is that we act like our children are not participating in this process just like we are. They're seeing everything that we're seeing. And so we can't hide the truth from them. They're going to be at school with their teachers. They're going to be home with their family members. And so the best thing that we can do is, like Dr. Hite said, create a safe space. Children need structure, they need predictability, and they need consistency. And if we can be consistent with our message, being a trusted messenger, and open up that space for them to ask open-ended questions, be available to them, let them know that it's okay to feel, right? Because they're going to have emotions just like we have emotions. And yesterday was a turning point. It was a tipping point and a transformational moment. The children are bearing witness to the atrocities, especially Black, Brown, and Indigenous people, all the time. So we can't act like they're not experiencing it. Let's have a conversation about the beauty of it, even like those bystanders that were in the trial. They called it the bouquet of humanity. Let's talk about humanity and then ask the children, what can they do to participate as we create change in our system?
I'm glad you brought all that up, because if you try to hide it as a parent or a teacher, it's not going to work. They hear about it. They heard about the 9-year-old girl who was at the scene of this killing of George Floyd, who actually went into a courtroom and had to testify, you know, Dr. Argie.
Yeah, you know, that was one of the most stunning and beautiful pictures when you see that 9-year-old little girl with a t-shirt that says love. And she knew enough to yell out, just get off of him. She was courageous, as I say in the book, Courageous Conversations Connect. She was courageous enough to not look away. We cannot do those children and those bystanders an injustice by not having the conversation with them and saying, now it's time for all of us to rise up. If not now, then when?
And the interesting thing is, these conversations will keep happening, Dr. Hite. As you know, yesterday after the verdict, at the same time it happened, but the news came out after the verdict of another police shooting, this involving a young person, 15 years old, in Columbus, Ohio. So I guess the question is, because this is going to be in the news and this is happening, it doesn't just stop with what happened yesterday.
No, it doesn't. And as we've talked with students, and we actually going to have a virtual town hall with students, inviting all of them to share their emotions. And so this allows them to share emotions with other students who may not be attending their own school. But as I've heard from students who talk about these issues, even the violence that happens in their communities. And the sad part about this is something that Dr. Argie said earlier, is that we cannot act like these conversations should not happen in schools. And so students would say, hey, even if we asked about an event that happened either nationally or in their community, and someone says, we're not going to talk about that here, that's suppressing our ability to actually process and reflect on that. And so one of the things that we have made clear to all staff, to all students, to all families, is that we're strongly encouraging and allowing everyone to take the time they need to process and express their feelings and engage in the conversations about these important issues, because it can be done respectfully, peacefully, and where they're safe, and most importantly, where their voices can be heard.
So who starts the conversation, Dr. Argie? The mom and dad? If the child, you can tell, is kind of bothered by this and looking at the TV and wondering what's going on, should the parents start the conversation?
Well, you know, that's a good question, Mike. I say that the 4-letter word for love when it comes to children is time, T-I-M-E. Right. And so, yes, the parents are their first teachers. They need to open up the conversation. They need to hold themselves accountable for not walking away or looking away from these hard conversations, because they are hard, right? We all know as Black, Brown, and Indigenous people what the talk is about. We've been having it with our children. Yep. So there's about acknowledgement, accountability, and then helping our children to amplify their voices so that they can channel their emotions into positive outcomes. It's not just anger is fine. It's what you do with it and how you harness it to do something positive with it. So I say lean into the conversations for families, parents, grandparents, siblings, and of course teachers, as Dr. Hite said, and the entire community. It's time to talk.
It's just like Alex brought up, though. They're going to hear about the thing that happened yesterday afternoon in Columbus, Ohio, and somebody more their age. And so talk to them, talk to the, I don't know, it's tough being a teacher, it's tough being a parent.
Right, and especially when the videos are circling and it's so prevalent. Whether it's social media, we know a lot of kids have access on their phones. It's not like you can stop them from seeing it firsthand.
Right.
So I guess.
Right.
Dr.
You know
Allen.
what, Alex, when they say that they're experiencing it every day, they don't have to see it in a video. They're walking down the street and they're experiencing it. So we can't hide the truth from them. It's about truth, trust, and transparency that leads to transformational breakthroughs.
10 seconds closing comment, Dr. Hite.
No, I think while these times seem overwhelming, but I think through collaboration and through this opportunity to support and love, we can see a different world, and we can actually engage our young people in these conversations. And so let's not act like they don't see it. They do see it. It's in front of them every day, every minute of the day, and we have to have the opportunity to talk about it.
Dr. Argie, say hello to your husband, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson.
I will. I love you, Mike.
I love you too. Dr. Hite, say hello to your lovely family as well.
Yes, thank you to both of you.
All right.
For coming on.
Thank you, Alex. Good to be here.
We're coming right back.